So, hi David, welcome to Croatia, welcome to Zagreb. It's a great honor to have you on our show. So tell me, how do you feel today?
I feel great. We just played a show last night in Slovenia, so we drove down here, easy drive, and got in early this morning, and man, what a beautiful country.
Did you get a chance to see the city maybe?
Just a little bit. You know, I went outside of our hotel. There was like the train station and all that down there. In fact, I have this my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/David Ellefson, and I shoot videos as I travel around the world in a lot of different locations. So I shot one today of Croatia, a little clip that I popped up there, and we put that on Megadeth.com, and it goes across, you know, out to Twitter and Facebook and everything out there. So
thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. No, I wanted to let the people, especially our fans around the world, know, you know, just how cool it is here. Because as a American, you know, we don't know often much about a country like Croatia, except what we see in the news, and quite honestly, most of what, in my lifetime, what I saw in the news growing up was it was like war and political difficulties and things like that, and so we just get a little snapshot of it, and it's a lot of misunderstanding because, again, you see one little moment of that. So it's great to be here and see it for what it is, and it's beautiful, and the people are friendly, and they're out in the streets and doing things, and it's hot here.
Yeah.
I live in a desert back in America, so this isn't that hot, but it's pretty warm here, you know.
It's humid.
It's very humid, yeah, it is. And as I understand, we're not too far from the ocean, or the sea, right?
Some 200 kilometers.
Yeah, well, it's close-ish. Yeah.
So tell me, you've returned to Megadeth this year. Tell me, how did that happen?
You know, it happened quickly, actually. The American Carnage Tour, which is a big tour that we're going to continue with Slayer, Megadeth, and Testament, was scheduled for January, and the singer, bassist Tom Araya decided he needed to go have a surgery on his neck. And interestingly, that provided a bit of an opening. Sean Drover, our drummer in Megadeth, had reached out to me and said, listen, you know, we're going to do this 20th anniversary of the Rust in Peace record, and this would just be a great time for you to come back into Megadeth. If you're at all interested, man, please get with Dave Mustaine, and you two should talk, because obviously I was in the group from the very beginning, 1983 through 2002, when Dave, you know, walked away from the group because of a hand injury that he had. But and then during that time, I got started on other things, playing in other groups, and, you know, putting together other projects of my own, and I stayed that course when Dave put the band back together in 2002, and I knew, and I think, and Dave knew too, I think, that at some point this was going to happen. We were going to this was going to come back together again. I mean, we don't spend that much time in a band and never ever play together again. And he and I have talked over in recent years, you know, which is good. So. Really, it's how it happened. In January and February, Sean and I had spoken, and by, I think, February 5th, I want to think, is when I went over to California. I rehearsed with the band. I mean, it sounded great right away, and we just said, let's go do this. It did. It really did. It clicked. I mean, we played Symphony of Destruction, Wake Up Dead, you know, some of the classic tunes, Do My Darkest Hour, maybe, just some, you know, some classic stuff, and it just sounded great, and it worked right away. And we said, you know what, let's go do this. So that's really how it happened. Very quick, and next thing you know, within about 3 weeks, we're on tour.
Excellent. You mentioned some of your other projects. Are you still working on that?
You know, right now, most of those things have, you know, kind of been put on the side just because I'm quite busy right now on tour with Megadeth. You know, I mean, for the rest of this year, we have a lot of tour plans up ahead. A couple more weeks here in Europe, and then we start the American Carnage Tour, which goes for a couple of months throughout North America, and then there's some other areas of the world that Megadeth is not, you know, we haven't toured yet this year on the current album cycle. So we've got a lot of stuff going, and we even started kind of churning out a few new riffs and a few new songs and starting to work on some of that stuff.
I've read on the internet that new album is to be announced next year. So you're working on something new.
Yeah, in fact, we actually have a riff. We'll probably label it Croatia riff, you know, so that way sometimes we name these things after whatever city we're in so we remember. But we're working on something today, and at sound check, and you know, there's even a couple.
So you can make something new while you're on tour. You don't have to be home.
Yeah.
At peace and quiet.
And sometimes I think it's almost better, you know, to start getting that creative stuff flowing now. You know what I mean? Get it going while you're on the road. You're already in that mindset. You know, sometimes when you go home, you want to just kind of turn music off, turn the band off, spend time with your family, go to the beach, whatever it is you do. You know what I mean? To just get away from it and relax. So I think sometimes it's good while we're out here on the road to get a lot of these ideas. I mean, some of our biggest records, like Countdown to Extinction. Even a lot of the stuff that's, you know, various things on even a couple of the recent Megadeth albums were things that were started on the road at various sound checks and things even years ago, back when I was in the group. You know, there were seeds and beginnings of ideas. So, you know, I just think it's good. You're in that ready to go mode while you're out on the road, you know.
So tell me, you have a vast repertoire of songs to choose from when you play live. How do you pick the ones you're going to play live?
I know, it's kind of tough. It's a good problem to have because we have a lot of, fortunately, I'd like to think, pretty good songs. And fan favorites, really, more than anything. You know, I mean, we really base them on, okay, well, what do the fans want to hear? Rather than what do we want to play. And
it's usually not the same thing.
Yeah. Well, no, it is. I mean, I tell you, look, playing a song that the fans love, that's my favorite song, quite honestly. You know, because I don't want to just stand up there and be self-indulgent and play stuff just for me. I'd rather play stuff that they like because then they're into it, and then that makes us more excited, and it's just, you know, we feed off each other, and it's been like that from day one with Megadeth. So, you know, there's the more recent album, Endgame, that came out last year. But then, of course, we started this 20th anniversary Rust in Peace you know, tour in North America. And as soon as we announced that, South America's like, man, you better play it down here. So we did. And then over in Europe, they're like, man, that's not fair. You need to play it over here. So we try to play that record everywhere we can, especially for this year, because we got 1 year where it's the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And then next year it'll be 21st anniversary, and that's not so special.
Then you're legally allowed to drink alcohol.
Yes. Actually, I was doing that long before I was 21, unfortunately. But see, it's funny, when I met Dave, I was only 18, you know, when we started Megadeth. He was 21 and I was 18, so, you know.
How did you guys meet?
I grew up in the middle part of the United States, a state called Minnesota, which is basically farms and mostly a Scandinavian and German heritage there, right? And so I drove. Me and 3 of my buddies went up to Hollywood, California, to Los Angeles, and I wanted to get in a band or start a band. Mm-hmm. And it hit me. It's funny. It hit me at 16 years of age. I was on my dad's farm where I grew up, practicing with my band, and it hit me like, man, you got to get to California. I mean, and at that point,
like a sign or something.
Totally it was. And from that point forward, I never looked back. For the rest of my school years, you know, it's like I didn't take too difficult of courses in school. I was like, you know, like, I'm going to California anyway, so what do I care, right? And so then 5 days after I graduated high school, my parents supported me in it, and I moved out there. I was in California not even a week. I met Dave. He had just left Metallica, and this whole new thing was getting ready to start. So he and I started playing together, and off we went. And that was really how it happened. It totally was. I mean, you look back on it now, and it's so clear. It's like, you know, the good Lord above, he kind of laid it all out for us, you know. So it's, which is why it was cool. You know, it was good that we had some time away here in recent years. You know, I think Dave kind of got to get Megadeth positioned how he wanted musically. He got to do some things and write some songs that he really wanted Megadeth to sound like again, without influence of producers and management, which kind of started to happen a little bit in the late 90s, you know. So I think it was satisfying for Dave to do that. It was satisfying for me to go do other records and play on other things with Soulfly and a group that I had, F5, and various things that I worked on. And that helped strengthen me, I think, so that when I did come back to Megadeth, I was a much stronger performer, writer, musician, and also very excited to come back as well, you know. So it all, again, even our reunion back together, kind of all
something that was meant to be.
It seems that way, right? You know, it really does. And sometimes, you know, people may go, oh, you know, I don't know about that, but I don't know. In our case, I think it seems very much to be that kind of a orchestrated better than we could have done. Let's put it that way.
So my last question. Recently you've played on the Sony Sphere Festival with the other members of the Big Four.
Yes.
What was that like? I think it was the first time you played together with them.
It was the first time. You know, here's the thing. We've played, all four of us have played with each other, just not all of us together on one stage together. And we did some shows. We played with Metallica a couple times over the years. Most recently was 1993, which was our Countdown to Extinction record, and it was the Black Album for them, which were both of our band's biggest records. And we played over in like Slovakia, in Hungary, and I forgot, Rotterdam, up in I think the UK at Milton Keynes. So we did some pretty significant, big stadium type shows. So to come back and play with them again was, it was familiar. We had done that before, but it was really cool to do it with all four of us, you know. And I think more importantly than, obviously it was fun for us, but more importantly, the fans. I mean, this is what they've been asking for years. I mean, man, would Megadeth ever play with Metallica? What about the Big Four? You know,
a lot of the Croatians went to see those concerts because of the Big Four.
Yeah.
It's so important to them.
Well, maybe over in, say, Bulgaria, maybe, or something, right? Yeah. No, I think, in fact, it was cool that, Lars was very excited about recording that in that particular show, or in that particular venue. He liked the venue, he liked the city, thought it was cool. And it was very centrally located for this region. And I'm happy that we are able to come here now as a headliner to Croatia and play, because it's really just a cool experience, first time, to be able to come here and play, at least for me anyway. So, awesome. Love your country. Great to be here.
We'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great. I mean, it's nice because we get to do a different set tonight than we did at the Big Four, because the Big Four we only had 60 minutes. Tonight it's a headlining show. We can play up to, say, 90 minutes if we want. So we have an entirely different set list planned for tonight. So anybody who may have gone to see the Big Four will get a different Megadeth experience tonight.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much for this interview, and I hope this crowd surprises you tonight.
I'm sure they will.
Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, this is David Ellefson from Megadeth, and you are watching Metal Eye here on Z1.